I'm Julian Beever, street artist.
When most people go to new cities, they're looking at the buildings, but half the time I'm looking at the sidewalk.
In this series, I'll be transforming pavements in cities around the world with my 3D chalk drawings.
Oh my gosh, you can actually see like the wings are raising up.
Plus, revealing the secrets of how I do it.
Even faster, you can pour on powder and rub it all in. I've got my subject. I've got a perfect space to draw with an ideal surface texture. But the authorities in Paris won't give me permission to draw anywhere near the centre of town.
So I head out of the city centre to La Défense, a business district to the west of Paris, whose owners have welcomed me with open arms. And it's a great location. La Défense's square arch is part of a line of monuments, including the Arc de Triomphe and the Louvre, that forms the Axe Historique running through the heart of Paris.
This is the place La Défense have given me to draw. And I can see straight away this surface is not suitable. It's composed of lots of little pieces of sharp flint embedded in cement, which is no good at all. If I tried to chalk over this, my chalk would just shatter. If I tried to rub it, at the end of the day, my fingers would be worn to a pulp.
So, I take a look around the area to try and find a better surface.
There aren't many alternative spots, but I have found one possibility here, and this might work. My concept is that I dig a hole, or I create an illusion of a dug-out hole. I will array some of the tools that one would have dug that hole with. Then there will be some of the matter spread out on the ground that's come from the hole. But then the main focus of the whole drawing will be this sand sculpture of the Eiffel Tower, made from all the material that I've taken out of this hole. And then a real person here will be able to interact with it, maybe put a flag on the top or something like that.
Night falls on Paris, and I get ready for my first day of drawing.
Following in the footsteps of so many heavyweights, Monet, Pissarro, Rodin, all the greats. And now it's Julian Beever's turn to do his 3D anamorphic illusion. What an honour and privilege. My usual feeling at the beginning of these drawings is a mixture of excitement and nervousness. I'm not entirely confident with the quality of these stones, and then there's also a risk that at some point during this project I might be told, oh no, you can't do it here, we told you you could do it there. I'm just marking out where the top of the tower will be. I need to know where all the parts are going to be before I start on the details. I'm just marking out a point below the camera here. Actually, it needs to be below the front of the camera, about there. I just want to get the vertical sides of this hammer that I'm drawing. I don't usually work quite in this way, but this one I wanted to do in this unusual way, so that I started off with my tools, and then I'm going to actually dig my hole and then do my sculpture from the materials in the hole. So I'm doing this in a bit of an unusual order, just for fun. Now this is the advantage of working on a shiny surface. You can actually clean stuff off fairly easily. I've now got my 3 tools, my 3 digging implements, so I'd better dig a hole with them. And that's the stage I'm going to do now. I'm just going to use my old trusted rope to decide on the size of this hole. Of course, I need to dig a decent size hole in order to get enough material to make my sand sculpture. I'm going to start colouring this in now. I'm imagining this entire drawing is having the light coming from the left, which means that in this hole, this side will be in dark shadow, whereas this side will be more lit. And you create an idea of 3D solidity by having a lighter side and a darker side.
France is the spiritual home of the stencil, or pochoir. It was in Paris in the early 1980s that stencil graffiti was first used artistically when Blek le Rat, seen by many, including Banksy, as the godfather of stencil art, tried to find a new street art that would suit his city. Using a cardboard stencil, he began creating pochoirs of rats across Paris before moving on to life-sized figures.
I think I didn't realize yet what's happened all over the world. I know there is everywhere stencil graffiti, but I didn't realize it. I saw some stencils in LA, and I was very surprised to see people making stencil. The stencil is very good technique to do something, you know, clean and very fast. When you're in the street, if you stay longer than 3 minutes, 4 minutes at the same place, you have a chance to be caught. The first time I made graffitis in Paris was in 1981, and the first time I tried to make an American graffiti, the same thing that I saw in New York, but I didn't have a good technique. And I remember to have seen on the walls of Padova in Italy a portrait of Mussolini done by stencil. I didn't invent anything, you know, I just applied the techniques and also the thing that I saw before, you know. This is my favorite, absolutely my favorite image that I did. It represents a man, you know, with suitcases. I call it the man who goes through the walls. It's a kind of traveler, you know. He's a kind of poet, you know, traveling with his suitcases, and sometimes I put also with him some animals like a sheep. It's very important to be to stay in the streets. It's all so I can say that I built my life on street art. You know, now I'm 55, so I did it for 26 years. Almost half of my life was on street art. So I'm so involved in this art now that I can. It's impossible for me to stop. You know, this movement started in the United States in 1967, and we are still at the beginning of this movement.
I'm just putting some sand, some little piles of sand and rubble on the pavement surfaces. In fact, I'm probably going to do that all around this Eiffel Tower, just to give the effect that all this rubble has been sort of dumped here from that hole and will then be used to build that Eiffel Tower. And I'm using pigment here rather than chalk, simply because this pigment happens to be the colour I want to use, a sort of sandy colour. And it's also a lot faster than using chalk, but I usually use it for larger areas.
I feel like I'm making good progress, but nobody seems to be getting very excited about what I'm doing. At least, not until this lot come along.
It's
Paris?
a trap.
A what?
Trap.
Trap. It could be a trap.
We can fall in. Yes.
Oh, it's a three-dimension thing.
It's a three-dimension thing.
Yes, nice.
Ah, c'est archi frais. Oh là là. Very beautiful.
I'm just marking out in white the rough outline of this Eiffel Tower, and it's incredible that although when you look at the camera this Eiffel Tower will appear to be just over 1 metre high, but to get that effect I've had to stretch the tower 8 metres long to get that height effect. You can see how really different this looks from the opposite viewpoint. Very strange. Do you know what this is?
Yes, I think it's the Eiffel Tower.
Why do you think it's so long? Do you think I've got it a bit too long?
Yes, it's a bit too long, yes. With this camera, that's the perfect size.
Actually, the whole is completely three-dimension.
I think that many people appreciate your work.
I hope so.
You're a great artist.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind.
People are so excited about the picture now that they're taking photos and even launching into spontaneous dance.
So it's been a very good first day's progress. I'm pleased with that, but I must remember that there is always the risk tomorrow that because I've moved from my designated spot, it may all get shut down. I hope not.
En tout cas, la distance est moins longue pour la sortie du ballon. Cette web, c'est la seule solution.
I do like cloudy days like this. Everybody thinks, oh, you must have sun, you'll have a lovely sunny day for it. But actually, sun isn't what I want. What I like is a nice, covered, cloudy day with dispersed light. That's ideal for doing this. I feel happy that there are a lot more people around, because yesterday it felt a little bit deserted somehow, and I wondered if they'd given me a place in the middle of no man's land to draw. But now I feel I'm in the middle of things. As you see, this hole is side lit, so this part's in shadow and this bit is brightly lit. It's the opposite for the Eiffel Tower because that's a solid thing. This side will be brightly lit and this side will be more in shadow. So that's what I'm going to do first, put this bright side in. Okay, I'm going to use my secret weapon, which is the sprinkler with the powder in, to get this brightly lit side. It's actually best for very large areas. The side of this tower is not really all that large, so it's a bit of a clumsy method. But I want to use it because I want to use the same pigment that I used in the hole, so that it appears to be the same material. Coming onto this very top section now. Although this is actually the narrowest part of the Eiffel Tower sculpture in the illusion, in actual fact it's broader here because it's further away from the camera. I've had to enlarge it to give the impression it's standing up. Now I'm going to colour it in, and I'm going to make this dark side darker than the dark side down there, because to give an illusion of closeness you need to increase the contrast. I've noticed this on several drawings before, that when I'm looking at a part that's in the distance, it just seems fainter, so I've got to counteract that effect and increase the contrast.
Back at La Défense, my 3D Eiffel Tower is taking shape.
There seems to have been a steady stream of people here today, more at lunchtime, of course, and in the morning, but I think the atmosphere is becoming more relaxed, as if people have got a bit more time now for things. And I've had some very kind comments and lots of nice appreciation, which is always nice. I think perhaps the authorities that run places like this and other open spaces in cities should realise that perhaps this is a way that ordinary people who might not go to art galleries can see art and enjoy art. So it makes it more accessible to anybody. I think they should bear that in mind when they're deciding whether to allow something like this.
There ain't enough of it, to be honest with you.
You're right. You're right there.
You win.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You want money? I haven't got money. I haven't got money.
No, thank you. But it's
I'm sorry, but I haven't got that.
Congratulations, very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, really.
Oh là là là, oh là 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 là. J'ai maintenant aperçu votre œuvre, c'est extraordinaire, monsieur.
Merci bien.
C'est extraordinaire, extraordinaire.
Thanks a lot. I'm really building up these little 3D fragments lying around. This is what excites me about this picture. It's not really the hole or the tower, it's these little bits of trompe-l'oeil kind of stuff, which are not that far from the camera. But they really do look 3D, just with this simple shadow on one side and lighting from one side, and they're so easy to do. I've really enjoyed putting all these 3D little details around the hole, so much so that I totally lost track of time. It's now 7 o'clock in the evening, and I thought it was only 4 o'clock or something like that. So it's time to cover it all up again, and tomorrow I'll be able to put 1 or 2 more things on. I think I'll add a couple of tools, and that'll be it. All done. Well, here I am, beginning of the 3rd day, and it's a lovely sunny day. I'm finding it quite difficult to make that pick look correct. You'd think it would be a fairly simple shape, lying flat, but I can't get the handle to relate to the head properly. It happens sometimes. The difficult things sometimes are easy, like the Eiffel Tower wasn't all that hard, but a simple thing like a pick is quite tricky. So I've changed it several times, washing it off, which makes a mess. I don't like having to do this kind of thing. One chooses objects like this to try and embellish it with lots of 3-dimensional objects and trompe-l'oeil. But sometimes that in itself just becomes a liability and it threatens to spoil your picture if you can't get it right. It's at times like this that one's confidence gets knocked.
With those smaller details sorted, I've reached the point where I'm happy with the drawing, and it's time to reveal my 3D Eiffel Tower to these gathered Parisians.
3-dimensional glory here in 2 minutes now. 2 minutes over this way to see this official anamorphic drawing on the screen. Venez, here, regardez l'écran ici. Et tu dois me dire où je dois mettre ça. Et quand on allume l'écran, soyez expressive avec l'émotion, OK? OK? So, 3, 2, 1. This has been a funny old drawing. I couldn't find anywhere to draw to begin with, and then when I got these stones, I didn't think they'd be very good, but actually they have been a lot better than I thought they would be, and I'm pleased with the result. It wasn't till I started doing all these little details, these trompe-l'oeil things around the outside, that it really came together. So, vive la France!
Excusez-moi.
Sorry. Right, well, that's the end of another drawing. It's always sad to say goodbye to them. Soon it'll be washed off in the rain. But the main thing is I've got my photographs and they'll last forever. So, that's it.